He must be being attacked. Oh, man. Let's check this out. Make sure you subscribe to Endymion and to The Critical Drinker, because they both tell the truth and speak their minds. Now let's check this out and see what the hell is going on here.
There's a reason Hollywood absolutely hates someone like the Critical Drinker. Not because he's irrelevant or wrong, but actually because the guy has kind of been right for far too long.
Yeah, you damn right he has. As well as the rest of us. The whole group collectively that has had an issue with all the narratives and garbage that they've been trying to shove down everybody's gullets. We've been telling you, it ain't gonna work, because it ain't been working since you tried to get it to work. And every single way you tried to finagle it and twist it and turn it and feed it, it still didn't work. And people spit it out. And then now they're not buying the video games you want them to buy, going to the movies you want them to go to, watching the TV shows you want them to watch. You know what I mean? They're leaving the theme parks. You know, it's a big issue right now. So get back to making money, give the people what they want. Everything will be cool.
For years now, the Critical Drinker has been trying to warn the general movie-going audience about the slow decay of modern entertainment.
Yep.
Hell, I've done the same, as many others have too. We
That's
all
what I
know
just
this,
said.
right? The writing has been getting worse, the characters are becoming shallow, and storytelling is getting replaced with ideological messaging and social construct nonsense all the time. Also, footage-wise...
And they try to blame it on people being every type of istophobe in the book. And that's not what it is. It's people see through the veil. They see what you're trying to do and they know why you're doing it. And you make these unnecessary changes to their favorite characters that they've loved forever. And you're wondering why they have an issue with it. And then you try to make it seem like it's them, like they're evil for not liking what you were trying to feed them. Okay? You go to your favorite restaurant, they change the recipe, the people aren't going to like it. Okay, it happens all the time. People can taste it. I just saw something on Hershey changing their chocolate formula because they weren't really using real cocoa in it anymore. And then they start to change it to, they changed the name of what they were, like it wasn't any more milk chocolate. It was chocolate candies, which is something different. You saw what happened to Cracker Barrel when they changed their signage and they redesigned how it looked inside. People didn't like it. Stop doing all that stuff. Every once in a while, yes, there is an innovation and change can be really good. But for the most part, for tried and true characters that have been around forever, these changes haven't been good.
Video, nothing really makes sense, so just consider the footage here as filler as I speak. Cool? Anyways, the fact we used to get great movies all the time, alongside movies and more that didn't talk down to us, kinda seems sort of alien these days. Because there's always something trying to preach against you to some capacity. But the reaction from the entertainment media types and the websites and other critics and then some is to not listen to the Critical Drinker or others like him, but instead to smear them, dismiss him even, or just flat out pretend like someone like him doesn't even exist. It never works though, does it? Because the more a website attacks you or tries to smear you, the more they accidentally prove why the entire point of someone like a drinker or anyone who critiques pop culture is actually needed these days. And this all reached a fever point recently due to a controversy surrounding Drinker and an author named Andy Weir. So if you don't know, Andy Weir wrote Project Hail Mary.
I was going to say, he sounds familiar though.
It's doing numbers in case you don't know. Andy Weir was on Drinker's channel where they talked
I heard
about
about this.
Hail Mary in the absolute state of Hollywood, and at one point...
Oh no, oh my God. Don't tell me he bent the damn knee. He got attacked for being on Drinker's channel and he bent the knee. How much do you want to bet? That's what it is.
Andy Weir spoke to the Drinker about things like modern-day Star Trek, and how, in Andy's opinion, Star Trek is now terrible, which, yes, I agree. It's not even really a hot take, because it is. Modern-day Star Trek is like a lot of things that push the
hot garbage,
progressive nonsense in their storytelling.
Don't even recognize it anymore.
Just universally, pretty much. And these sorts of shows or projects do not have large audiences for a reason. As Geeks and Gamers showed here, as you can see. Apparently, the new Starfleet Academy show, which will end with season 2, probably because it has the contract for 2 seasons, otherwise it wouldn't have reached there, is only getting about 40,000 views an episode, which, if you don't know, that is abysmal for a TV show.
Yes, it is.
That means that a single video of, like, mine gets more views than an entire network television show about a legacy science fiction franchise, if you can believe it.
That is crazy.
And I can assure you...
a legacy, legendary franchise. Wow. See, problem is, you used to have the popularity armor, and you no longer have it anymore. Star Trek had it. Star Wars had it. Marvel had it. But now, your armor has been destroyed. It's been breached. And it no longer protects you anymore. And Disney found that out real fast with the Acolyte. You get what I'm saying? And several other things. So, you know...
Starfleet Academy costs way more to produce than
to rebuild that armor
as well. This is, abysmally bad. The only reason the show still exists is because, like I said, it's probably in their contract that they have to make a second season. But even then, Paramount is losing millions of dollars on yet another Alex Kurtzman Star Trek project that is resonating with nobody. Go figure, for like the 10th time already. So Star Trek's performance, it's a lot like Dragon Age the Veilguard of TV shows, pretty much, right? Its audience is small, and these sorts of things only exist for one reason, to pander. That's literally all it ever is for. We've seen it in movies too. Far too many are pushing progressive nonsense over just telling a good story. It's no wonder why the games that don't pander tend to sell the best, and ironically, those sorts of games also usually review better too, which might tell you something. Remind me again what Claire Obscure Expedition 33's Metacritic score was and how many awards it won. What's that? It didn't pander at all? Not even once? Well, imagine that. Anyways, like I said, naturally, because Andy Weir, the author of Project Hail Mary, spoke to the critical Drinker.
Hail Mary!
This now means that Drinker, he has to be destroyed, and Andy Weir by association too. As this one tweet from a progressive type would say, that disappointing moment when you find out the author of one of your favorite books uses generative AI, is against real-world commentary, politics, and fiction, and deeply misunderstands Star Trek. Ah, yes. So didn't you just say that one of your favorite books and authors, which is Project Hail Mary and Andy Weir, is now bad because the author doesn't pander to the modern audience? Again, you said that yourself, that it's one of your favorite books. So let me get this straight. You like real-world commentary, political jargon in your media, but your favorite book is in fact a story where none of that political nonsense is in it, and you're mad about this now. Doesn't the existence of Hail Mary as a book, being your favorite immediately by your own words, disavow your own critiques of Andy Weir, because by definition what he believes and what he does, which is not to alienate the audience, means that he makes good books that you clearly like as well? You see what I mean? Like, these people are just low IQ. There's no other way to say it. This is like saying, wow, I love this steakhouse. It's so good. Too bad the chef isn't a vegan like me, but wow, this steak is so good. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense.
Who are you talking to?
You're nulling your own argument with your own opinion. Like, do these people read what they say before they even hit send? I don't think so. No. Anyway, this is what Andy Weir said in the excerpt that this moronic fan of his posted, as it reads here. I dislike social commentary. Like, I really hate it. When I'm reading a book, I just want to be entertained, not preached at by the author. Plus, it ruins the wonder of the story if I know the author has a political or social axe to grind.
That does bother you.
I no longer speculate about all possible outcomes of the story because I know for a fact that the universe of that book will conspire to ensure that the author's political agenda is validated. I hate that, Andy Weir said. I put no politics or social commentary into my stories at all. Anyone who thinks they see something like that is reading it on their own. I have no point to make, and I'm not trying to affect the reader's opinion on anything. My sole job is to entertain, and I stick to that.
I like
And
that.
that's a really good way of making stories.
I
It's
like
almost
that.
as if that has worked for like decades. Since the dawn of modern
Okay.
entertainment or something. Sure, I know that things can pull from the real world, obviously. Star Wars, for example, pulls from World War II, with the
Mm-hmm.
iconography of like German and Allied forces with the Empire versus the
Mm-hmm.
Rebellion. I get that, as well as the whole Vietnam War as well. But these days, the delusion.
See, people don't mind when it does that. Just back in those days, it wasn't so heavy-handed, you know. And I think it's coming at people from so many sides. It's so heavy-handed and on the nose. They can now no longer immerse themselves in the fantasy world that they came into to escape this real world that's irritating the hell out of them. So they're in irritation in the real world and then in this fantastical world that they're trying to relax and just enjoy. And they're tired of it and they know it when they see it. They know it when they see it. They know it when you gender swap, when you sexuality swap, when you race swap. They know why you're doing it. And they're just sick of it. They're tired of it. It's an eye roll moment every single time. They know why you're doing it. You didn't pick them because they were the best actor out of the hundreds of thousands of actors that exist on the planet. You just had that. No, we know why you're doing it because you still have that social commentary axe to grind. They know that's why you're losing the money. And you know.
That wraps reality from these industry types has turned everything that we know and love pretty much into total disasters. Star Wars is mostly cooked. Marvel is starting to course correct, at least somewhat movie wise, after so many failed flops and storylines ruined by like female first nonsense, not to mention every other week. It seems like DC Comics is just going to make another, swing in another direction if you catch my drift and make this character, this gender or identity or whatever. And then you have game companies like Obsidian all the time that keep ruining their core franchises to appease to nobody but like Kotaku pretty much. Andy Weir would further his stance with Star Trek where he said this: "For instance, as a lifelong Star Trek fan, it's always bothered me that there was a presumed responsibility within Star Trek shows to talk about social issues," the writer added. "I just want to watch Romulans and the Federation shoot at each other. Yeah, he just wants good entertainment, but
Yeah.
that isn't enough now, is it?" So Project Hail Mary, as seen here, is projected to earn somewhere near $700 million when it's all said and done,
Okay.
which is very high for an original science fiction
Okay.
movie, especially
Good.
these days. And as Drinker says,
It's a
there,
great movie.
amazing what
Great
can happen
movie.
when you produce good movies. Yeah, exactly. But you see, naturally, because someone like a Drinker exists, or even a neurotic, anyone really that does this, like this is all bad news now. Because these people can't really exist, right? They have to be destroyed. Even to be associated with them is effectively career deletion even. And the heat got so hot for Andy Weir for like speaking with the critical drinker that, as Deadline reported here, as you can see, Andy openly then apologized to Alex Kurtzman and modern Star Trek fans over his remarks on the Drinker show. Yes, Andy bent the knee to the mob because the pushback was too much for him to handle in the end, unfortunately. And Andy Weir's public apology to Alex Kurtzman reads as follows from Andy's own Facebook post, as you can see here. "Open letter to Alex Kurtzman. Hey Alex, Andy Weir here. I'm posting to apologize about stuff I said on the Critical Drinkers podcast. I feel like my quotes were taken out of context as salacious sound bites. I hope you saw the other parts where I said how much I like you as a person and what a nice guy you are. I was trying to be funny, but in retrospect it comes off as disrespectful and mean, so I'm sorry for that. I was also trying to be self-deprecating when I said, but they didn't like my pitch, so F them, but out of context it can read like I actually meant it. I'm a blunt person, always have been. And it's been 10 years since the media cared about what I had to say about anything, so I kind of forgot to watch my words when I have a film in theaters." And then blah blah blah, he asked to have a phone call or a Zoom with him. And then he used a meme saying that he puts his own foot in his mouth. Yeah, it just comes off as backtracking to me. So yes, Andy went on Critical Drinkers podcast for a very simple reason, because he's a fan of the Critical Drinker. He also agrees that modern Hollywood is a cesspool of activists, which it is. But Andy, unfortunately, is also a cog in the Hollywood machine, to a certain degree too. So naturally, he fell back in place when the going got tough.
Yeah, either too many hate comments got to him or somebody up high got to him and asked him to apologize or something.
Which now just makes him come off a little defeated, if you ask me. As the most relevant post on Andy's Facebook apology says there, his own fans are still disappointed despite him apologizing that he hung out at all with the critical drinker to begin with, and claiming that Andy going on Drinker's channel was his first mistake because apparently aligning yourself with Drinker, that is bad to do. Which,
Good
yes, is
Lord.
just ridiculous. This is why modern Hollywood, and by association, stuff like games and shows and comics and more, they are all over the place at the way that they are. Because everyone is scared to actually be their own person in these industries. They don't know what to think or do until the monolith tells them what their identity will be for the foreseeable future. The only reason why people hate the Drinker is because they know he's right. I mean, if he wasn't right about Hollywood, then what's happening would not be happening the way that it is. Hollywood wouldn't be in the terrible position that they find themselves in currently, because in order to keep jobs when it comes to making movies...
Yeah, it's like he doesn't like what they like, and then when he says it's probably going to fail, or he says it's just trash, and then it fails, and you know they can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? Whenever anyone thinks that a movie is trash that I like, I don't care. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter literally who they are. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. That's just their opinion on it. Why should I waste my time attacking them or harassing them just because we have different takes on movies or video games or comic books or whatever it is? Doesn't matter. That's their opinion.
You kind of need to make good movies so people will go and watch them in theaters, right? It's like a game as well. You see so many games journalists getting laid off from this website or another. Happens all the time. Yet the problem is always capitalism. And never once that the writers at these websites have weaponized their positions to attack the readers that are kind of the lifeblood of their entire operations existing in the first place. This is why games flop, why studios close down, and games nobody cares for cease to exist, like a High Guard has, to name just one recent example. It never works to attack the audience is the point. And again, if Drinker was wrong, then what's happening would not be happening. So the Wall Street Journal even panicked recently how the amount of jobs available when it comes to Hollywood-aligned projects has staggeringly dropped off.
If everybody that had issues with these movies and all the entertainment that's happening now were always wrong, like no one would pay attention. No one would have anything to say. No articles would be written. No comments would be written. No videos would be made. No one would say nothing. Because all of us would be wrong. It's just like, no. They kind of just, they just say crazy stuff and then that's it, No, but we've been right for the majority of all the entertainment that has come out. About all the ones that we thought were going to fail or have problems with the public, we were right.
In the past 4 years or so alone. As you can see here from this graph they made to show, in 2021 there were 18,560 jobs in television in Los Angeles. By 2025 it was now down to just 6,582 available jobs. Feature films dropped from 3,406 to 1,999. Commercial jobs dropped off a cliff too, from 5,319 to just 2,742 available jobs. It does not take a genius to look at the absolute state of modern Hollywood in the heart of Los Angeles, California and go, uh-oh, everything is getting worse, isn't it? Even the New York Post couldn't swindle the story into positivity with their article titled, "Fears Grow of Detroit-Style Decline as Hollywood Jobs Evaporate." For my international viewers who may not know what that means, you see, Detroit is a place in America, and they used to be the hub for industrial work, like making cars and such. But generally speaking, it is still pretty bad. So since they can't prove someone like a critical drinker wrong in his opinions, well, they're just going to smear him instead. Like Matt Dinneman, that's the author of a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl. I don't know what this book is, but anyways, as seen here, this Matt guy revoked his association with Drinker and claims that he wants to remove any part of Drinker's involvement in his success in the future. As
Matt Dinneman, author of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I regret that my books have had any association whatsoever with him, but one day to have his part in the book 3 removed altogether. Good Lord. Oh my God. Hey, you know what though?
Drinker says above, this Matt guy was very eager to work with Drinker in order to use his audience for fame and money when he needed it. But as soon as he wanted to bring it to Hollywood proper, he suddenly denounces Drinker at the same time. Interesting, isn't it? What I find interesting as well is that whenever someone like a Drinker, a Nerdrotic, you name it, is mentioned in sort of articles, it's always the same exact pattern. It's never to confirm that their opinions or beliefs are right, even though they have accurately predicted which movies and such will fail and do well all of the time. But it's really always for one reason, which is...
Well, actually, there are certain columns that will reference certain channels that have been talking about the decline and what's been going on, and but yeah, most of the time it's always some type of but yeah.
Character assassination. They're going to call someone like this controversial, toxic, or a grifter, yet they will never address the argument itself. Because they know that if they did do that, it would lead to these types having to
for the most part.
Very uncomfortable. Which is that modern Hollywood is actually in very serious trouble, whether they like it or not. Because the people in Hollywood, they don't really want a conversation to be had. After all, they just gave one battle after another, which is a film all about legit.
Yeah, it's almost like they just want to push whatever messaging they want to push, and that's it. All right, I'm going to stop it here. I'll watch the rest on my own. It looks like the rest doesn't really speak about the Drinker anymore, but more Hollywood issues. But I wanted to find out what was going on, because I was like, if endymiontv is doing this video, it must mean he's being attacked or something like that. So, and I was right. So, post the comments down below. Let me know what you all think about this. Sorry you're going through this, Drinker. Seems like everybody that has a different opinion to anybody on both sides, no matter who you are, no matter you're left, no matter if you're right, has to deal with this garbage. And it is what it is. People will talk like they're taking the high road and behave like a complete, evil person and harass other people, but because they're mad at them for having a different opinion, and they think they're the better person, but they're really acting like the worst person. It's weird how there's that justification for it. There's that disconnect in their minds. It's just either, I don't know if it's stupidity. I don't know if it's brainwashing. I don't know if it's some type of mental grooming. I don't know what it is, but or sometimes I think it's just blatant. They know they're lying. They know they're slandering. They know they're twisting words. They know they're twisting the truth. They know exactly what they're doing. They just don't like you, and they fester and live in negativity. And those type of people never succeed, man. They will never be happy. So you just gotta leave them alone. That's why I block anybody that run their mouth on this channel. If that's it. Like, why would I argue with you? There's no point to it. After all, that's what you want me to do. You want me to argue with you. You want me to dive into your negativity and stuff like that. That's it. Just block. That's it. I'm not dealing with you no more. Sorry. You know what I mean? I cut people off that, can't add happiness to my life. So that is what it is. And most of them are cowards anyway. They all have cartoon pictures up. They never show you who their real face is. You never hear their real voice. And a lot of them are bot farms. A lot of them are just bots. So it just is what it is. It's part of the negative side, the underbelly of the system, so to speak, the industry. Post the comments down below. Let me know what y'all think. If you enjoyed my thoughts on this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo.